Alright, just a quick little video on a Super Bowl Sunday. So you guys know what these are, and they're cool. We all love them, especially us 80s and 90s kids. But some of y'all might remember that before we had these minis, we had some other minis, specifically arcade minis. And these are the minis that I speak of. They also made a couple other ones. I think there was a Donkey Kong and a Frogger. There might have been one other one. They were made by Coleco, you know, the people behind the ColecoVision. And these were basically your little take-home arcade cabinets. This one I've had since I was a child. I actually had one before it, and one of my uncles in a drunken rage threw it across the room and broke it. I think when I took it apart, and even back then when I was a little bitty, I was taking stuff apart because I always wanted to know how things worked. And I remember when I took it apart, I think the circuit board was cracked in half or something like that, which nowadays I could have fixed it by patching all the traces and putting it back together. But a couple years later, I was at a thrift store, and I was still a little bitty, and I found it, and my parents bought it for me because of the other one getting broken, and I've had it ever since. Matter of fact, it sits on top of my actual Miss Pac-Man arcade machine. So I used to be able to run and run and run. This one I could run it and run it and run it. It'd actually get pretty warm. I'd run it over and over and over so many times, because once you figured out the pattern on it, you could just sit there and run it until the batteries went dead, basically. This one is the original one, the Pac-Man, and as you can see, it is in need of some sticker restoration. Miss Pac-Man does too. She's in pretty okay shape, but she could use maybe some new glue. The thing is finding glue that I can put on there that won't come through the ink on the front and make it look nasty. And Pac-Man here is in pretty decent shape. It has its top and all that. Mostly what it needs is this fixed, and it needs a new front. And I've had a fairly hard time sourcing new art for these, even if I could make my own. And it's got a little dent here on the facing. Both of these work. I don't have enough batteries for both of them because they're C-cells, but they do work. So this one's a Miss Pac-Man here. This is one I've had for years and years and years. And we can put it in demo mode. Brings back some fond memories just looking at it, watching it play. But yeah, you could do two-player on it. Me and my father used to play two-player on it. And it. So the little dot going around, that would be like whatever fruit, cherry, or whatever. Since we didn't have the screen technology then, at least in handheld stuff like this to do the fruits. So like I said, they both work. This one needs a little bit of adhesive work to fix the glues and stuff. And there's that dent there. If you've ever taken one of these apart and looked, when you flip them over, the control surface here, as a matter of fact, if you just feel around, you can feel the holes, because they use the same cabinet and everything for all of the all of the various machines. So, but yeah, they were made in '81. I know this one was made in '81. I believe this one was probably made '81 or '82. And I'm missing the battery cover for this one. Matter of fact, I stole the battery cover off of here to put this one on to demo it. But they're pretty cool. Like I said, I'd like to get the rest of them if I could, maybe someday. And I think I paid $40 for this one, as in bad shape as it is, just to get it to have to go with Miss Pac-Man. So, pretty cool little retro guys. You don't see these around very often. I know a lot of the guys like Metal Jesus Rocks and all them, and I think AVGN. I think both of them have complete sets of these. So they're you don't see these very often. So when I do see them, especially like this is, a matter of fact, this is the first one I've ever come across since I found this one. So, and I'm in my late 30s. So that tells you how often you come across them. Maybe in bigger towns where there was more of them, you might come across more of them. But, and like Frogger and Donkey Kong, I've never even ever been able to find those anywhere. I think these were the more popular of the bunch. So, but anyways, I just thought I'd make a little video on these. I mean, I know other people have made videos on them, but they're something I something I cherish quite a bit. They were a big part of my childhood. So, have a good Super Bowl Sunday.